Hi guys, Pablo here from Unique Japan, and I'm here with a very unique Japanese sword, ujka473 Jôshû Kunishige. It's one of these swords that I'm very proud to have in the UJ catalog because there's so many talking points. I'm going to try and summarize them relatively quickly for you, but let's enjoy this piece because it's something that you won't see very often. Okay, so without further ado, let's remove the sword from the Shirasaya. Now this sword is dated to August, first year of Keian, August of 1648. So many moons ago. And Kunishige is one of those swordsmiths that you won't find in Fujishiro. You won't even find it in most sword books. But so it's one of those swords that swordsmiths that very rare, and coming from the Mishina school, actually, of all schools, from Kunihiro and the whole gang, right? So what makes this sword extremely special, besides the fact that very few examples of his swords exist, is the fact that this sword itself was confiscated after World War II. Now you have to remember, after World War II there was an edict that all swords needed to be surrendered by the Japanese populace. And so thousands of swords went to the States and around the world. And this was one of those swords, right? So even the swords that I'm offering in my catalogs, many of them would have been, in the States or wherever, and then repatriated back to Japan. But it's just, in this case, we know who it was, who the owner was, the past owner, because Ayumu, my operations manager, managed to find an old article in the archives of the library, in one particular library, and it was the owner, the past owner, was a doctor, and his name, what's his name again here? What's this guy's name? His name was Toriumi Katsumi. So this doctor wrote in an article saying that he was very saddened he had to surrender some swords. He had surrendered 3 or 4 swords, and this is one of those swords, right? So you might feel a little bit sad because it was surrendered, but it was well taken care of in the States, and now it's back, and it's in great condition, and it's coming full circle. Okay, so one of those, you don't often see swords that are dated in the Edo period, but you're going to see that with this particular sword. Here's the nakago. So we have here Jôshû Fujiwara Kunishige, and then you'll see that kuni is very famous within the Mishina school, right? And then we have the dated here of Keian, Ichinen, and Hachigatsu, lucky day in August. Now, what's wonderful about this sword, and I can see why they collected, this particular family collected the sword, is because despite being made in the Shinto period, what we have here is a sword that's clearly being that's trying to emulate the swords from Shizu, right? The early Mino tradition, and it has a real Soshu feeling to this blade. So it's a marriage of old school sword making, but yet made in the Shinto period. So it's just fabulous, really. Look at that, just that beautiful, itame nagare hada, rich, vibrant, bright hamon. It's just so exciting under the, gunome-midare with a bit of togari. Togari is that pointed hamon that you'll see in the Mino tradition. But it's not pointed all over the place. Just the very early stages of that togari. That's what we're seeing in this blade. Clearly, and you'll see togari, like the points, bang, like that. Just healthy, wonderful sword. What's the length of the sword? It's 70 centimeters and 1.8 curvature, right? So a lovely curvature to the blade. It's not, sometimes in those Kambun Shinto period swords that are, quite shallow curvature, you get a nice curvature with this blade. It's old. It's old meets, tradition meets modern times in a sense, right? Modern times in 1648, right? But real great energy in this piece, really good energy. And the fact that we know who the owner was, when it was surrendered, we know when it came back to Japan, we know when we got Tokubetsu Hozon. It's all documented in the PDF. So I encourage you to read everything you can on this blade, and just one. It's just one for the collector books, right? You want to go to a sword meeting sometimes with swords that nobody's ever seen, right? I can guarantee you very, very, very few people have ever seen Kunishige. Certainly first one for us, and probably the only one we're ever going to have at Unique Japan, right? So if you want a unique sword, something with character, something that you can, I mean, what would be really wonderful, a sword like this, is to collect something from the Koto period, maybe even a Yamato Shizu or Naoe Shizu, to have them next to each other, you know, Shinto period and actually something from, you know, 1300s or 1200s. That would be really wonderful. But it'll sit well in anyone's collection. I don't have the koshirae here because there was some minor fixes that we needed to put on to the koshirae. So the koshirae is not with us, but we're going to probably put we're definitely going to put some kind of sayagaki on this old shidasai with lovely bamboo strips. You don't see this very often, like little bamboo strips. We're going to do sayagaki, either with Nozomi-san, our calligraphy artist, or we might take it to Tanobe Sensei for some sayagakis. I think he would actually enjoy seeing a piece like this and documenting something that he doesn't often see. All right, so that's it. That's ujka473, Jôshû Kunishige, a real class act of a sword. If you have any questions, just let me know. Pablo here from Unique Japan. Thanks for watching.